Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of our NFL YouTube podcast video. Today I am here with Frank Nando. Frank's brother Anthony has joined us today. Welcome, Anthony. And Nick from last week. All right, guys, how about we get started? So, for the Thanksgiving coming, we're just going to give you guys our 3 picks for the Thanksgiving games coming up tomorrow.
All right, so the first game is at 1 o'clock. It's the Bills versus the Lions.
Why don't you start us off?
I feel like it's going to be a close one, honestly, with Josh Allen not being 100%. But I think Buffalo's going to end up winning in the end. I could see it being a 2-touchdown game, but
Right.
I just don't see Buffalo losing to Detroit.
Nando?
I see Buffalo winning this. I think they just looked really good this season, obviously, and Josh Allen is playing on another level still. But Josh Allen did have some rough weeks the past couple weeks, but I think he'll bring it back together against the
I just
Lions.
want to add that. Notice how Diggs was kind of locked up in the beginning of that game, and it was a close game.
Right.
So if they can limit Diggs, it could be a good game for Buffalo.
Yeah, we'll
Detroit.
see.
Yeah.
And I probably have to take Buffalo just because of that roster, and I think Josh Allen will still be able to get it done. But for some reason, I feel like the Lions always play well on Thanksgiving Day. It's just something about it. But
Yeah, I'm going to take the Bills as well because also if you look at the Lions' defense, it's really been subpar, bottom 5 in the league. So Josh Allen, Diggs, Gabe Davis, they really shouldn't have a problem getting those guys
They're a
the
different
ball.
team this year, though, Detroit. They really are.
and I think that run defense is really good. I just don't think the pass defense is going to be enough to stop Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis.
And also last week, they did get Singletary going in that running game. Finally, they don't have Josh Allen scrambling out 10 times a game.
Yeah.
Nick G, what do you think?
No, I think Buffalo's just gonna run through them pretty easily. I was right about last week the Lions beating the Giants, but no, I don't think the Lions are
Don't
stopping.
come back for Detroit again?
No, not happening.
All right. Well, the next game is the Giants versus the Cowboys.
I got the Cowboys in this one by a landslide. Giants losing to Detroit just shows how the rest of their season is going to be. I feel like it's not going to go well for them.
I'm going to take the Cowboys, too. I think Howard's been playing amazing. Dak's been playing good. And that run game is just something else for any team to go against. So I'm going to take the Cowboys.
I'm also going to take the Cowboys, but it's not. I think it's going to be close, just because now it's the Cowboys. They're coming off that huge win against a really good team, and that just like the Vikings did against the Bills when they came to play Dallas. They were coming off that big win and then they got slaughtered. So I'm definitely afraid of something like that, but I think I'll take the Cowboys.
I just want to mention last week, I was the only one to take the Cowboys against the Vikings. I'm very surprised with you guys, but I'm actually going to switch it up. I'm going to take the Giants in upset.
Alright.
I know it's not plausible because if you look at the offense, they just got another receiver injured.
Wendell Robinson.
Yeah, Wando's out for the season, their second-round
God.
pick.
And their cornerbacks are injured too, so it could be a big day through the air for the Cowboys.
It's going to be a big Saquon day.
As we know, Saquon has to be involved in this offense.
Yeah.
He has to have 20 to 25 carries. He has to really be a big impact for this offense. And they just got to spread the ball to all the different receivers and tight ends that they have. Nick G?
I don't think it's gonna be close. I think the Cowboys are gonna wipe them. The Cowboys defense played so good last week. If they play like that again, Saquon's gonna get shut down. Because that's the only thing you have to do to beat the Giants is just shut down their main offensive weapon in Saquon. So if they just shut down Saquon, I think it's going to be a pretty easy win. And we had Cooper Rush last time, and we beat them still. And Cooper Rush is he's good, but he's a backup, so he should be able to do what he did.
Yeah.
So I think with Dak coming back, and he played pretty solid against the Vikings, and he just controlled that whole game himself. So if the Cowboys play the same way they did against the Vikings, I think the Cowboys are going to win by a landslide.
And the last game is the Patriots versus the Vikings.
I gotta take New England on this one with Belichick and their defense right now. How they played against the Jets, looking really good, looking like playoff contender defense maybe. So if they could limit Justin Jefferson and Kirk Cousins, if they could stop Kirk pretty simply, then that's how they're gonna win the game. But if they can't, the Vikings are gonna take control of the game if they get past New England defense.
Yeah.
I do have New England win.
I'm going to take the Vikings. I think Kirk Cousins and that offense can figure out their problems and just try to find a way to get through that defense. It's just I think they should be using Dalvin Cook more. Like I
I
keep
agree,
forgetting
yeah.
how good he is and everything, but I know you have the two like really good wideouts, Thielen and
Just got
Jefferson.
Hawkinson too, so yeah.
Yeah, I know. So that's why they throw a lot. But
Yeah.
I mean, once they figure out their problems, they'll get going. So I'm gonna take the Vikings.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Anthony here. Actually, I think I'm gonna take New England just because I want Kirk Cousins to prove to me he can win in prime time before I pick him in a game to win in prime time.
True.
So I am going to take New England, not by much though, just because, like Nando said, the Vikings still do have a really great offense. We'll just see if Kirk Cousins could get out of his drought in primetime games.
I'm going to go with Nando here because there is no way the Vikings could play any worse than they have against the Cowboys. Like they were terrible at that game, and also the Patriots can't match their offense. If they score a couple touchdowns, the Patriots don't
Oh,
have.
they're screwed if they
Yeah.
can't. Yeah, if Vikings take over.
They
Yeah.
have Stevenson, Damian Harris, and Jacoby Myers, but they don't have big play targets. You know, they're not going to match with the Vikings offense if they score a couple touchdowns on the board. AJ?
No, I'm gonna take the Patriots just because it's a primetime game, and
Simple as that.
no, the Vikings had a really hard time stopping the run against the Cowboys.
Yes, they did.
New England is like what Frank said last week. They're like
Ground and pound.
they're
That's what they
two-headed
are.
monster that they just got back, right?
Yeah,
And they're running back, so I think they're just gonna pound the rock, just like they did against Buffalo that one game where they ran the ball like 30 times. I
In the
think,
snow?
yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I just don't think it matters. I don't think Minnesota's defensive line is going to hold up to that run game that they have.
yeah. All right, guys. So we are going to get to our next topic of the day today, and that is going to be the New York Jets. So,
Who do they play this week?
I actually do not know.
Who does
Not
we
know.
Oh my God, we're
They play the Bears. They play the
Bears this week.
Ooh, that might be a good win.
Jets sit Zach Wilson, guys.
Alright. So, honestly, as much as I'd love to see Joe Flacco play, or even, is it Mike White their
Yeah.
quarterback?
Yeah.
I'd love to see someone else play. I just think they got to go with Zach Wilson one more week. Because,
Yeah.
yes, he had a very shitty week, but I mean, they drafted him for a reason. They got to give him a chance to prove himself, like with adversity. So, I say you give him one more week. If he can't perform, let's see Flacco in there, though. So, what do you think about that?
I really want to see Flacco in there, only because of the experience and everything. But I want Zach Wilson to be benched because I want it gets me mad only because like he's been playing horrible this whole season though. That's the thing, and like he needs like Elijah Moore was getting mad earlier in the season. Now it's Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
They had some games with him, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that one game has carried him in my mind. Like Brees Hall got hurt, and I think you could see the problems on the
Yeah,
offense.
he's coming off a big injury too. He might just need some time. You know what I mean? I still have some hope for him. I don't feel like he's as bad as he plays.
I still have
I really
hope for him, but like the stuff he's shown so far this season, like
Not
nine
much.
nine completions to 10 punts.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's horrible. Like
Yeah.
That's pretty awful. Yeah.
for the whole game, and like I don't know. Hopefully he could like turn around. I say give him another week, but especially against the Bears. But if he plays bad, then I think it's Joe
Because
Flacco.
Fields might
Yeah.
not be playing too, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much-
Yeah.
He's probably doubtful.
Yeah.
doubtful.
Yeah, he ain't playing.
I think Zach Wilson's going to play. And I do want to see him play. Just because I think he does deserve a little bit more of a chance. Like the games that he hasn't played against the Patriots, I mean, he hasn't been half bad, you know? Like some of the games he hasn't even thrown interceptions, like he's looked like he could really make a run in the playoffs.
Mhm.
But then he goes in and he plays the Patriots and he can't score more than 3 points, which it's really like disappointing to see. But that division is just so good, you know. And we'll see who ends up finishing
The defense,
last.
every defense in that division could carry them to the playoffs.
Absolutely.
Every defense.
So this reminds me of a quarterback controversy a couple weeks ago with Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi.
Oh yeah,
So,
Yeah.
as we all know, Mac Jones got injured. Bailey Zappi went in, lit it up for a couple games, had a good performance, you know, a couple touchdowns here and there. But then afterwards, he didn't really do much, and Mac Jones is starting now. It kind of reminds me of Flacco. Came in there, had 5 touchdowns, won a couple games, Now Zach Wilson.
To be honest with you, some could argue benching Mac Jones too. They only put up 3 points on offense too. You know what I mean?
Actually,
Mac Jones
But-
didn't do bad though, but like
He didn't
Zach
do bad.
Wilson threw like.
I mean, they scored the same amount of points. That's the problem.
yeah.
So I'm thinking they should keep Zach Wilson in there because they got to see what they have. You know, if they bench him, that means they don't trust him. You know, he's gonna be out there next year.
Yeah.
They got to see what they have in him. They got to give him till at least the end of the season because what are they gonna do with Flacco? Ride it out this season? Like he's not. He's what 35, 36 years old. He's not their franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
They have to see what Zach Wilson can do and see if he can actually improve.
Jimmy
because
G next year. Jimmy G, maybe.
he was good with that run game.
Honestly,
Wind was a factor too in that game.
Yeah, it was very windy.
it was windy.
New England weather, you know,
Yeah.
and Bill Belichick is a great coach too. You know,
It was close enough to Buffalo.
yeah, and they were still really close in that game. It was a close game the whole time. You know what I mean? Like he could definitely play better than that, though, 100%.
I think we're gonna bench Zach Wilson. Not starting Flacco. We're gonna start Mike White.
Mike White.
Yeah, I'm a big Mike White guy. He played good last year, didn't he? A couple games.
You guys could beat the Bengals.
Right, played 2 games, yeah.
Yeah, he got how many games? He played 2 games, and he played good in 2 games. Like,
Yeah.
put Mike White in. I like Mike White. I like Zach Wilson. I like what he does off the field sometimes too.
Also, another thing to add in, the Patriots did have Matthew Judon, who leads the league in sacks with like
Yeah,
12 or
he's a beast.
13.
He's good.
That's what I said. I
So-
said they're gonna stop him.
That was definitely a factor in his poor performance because the O-line does have some injuries. Becton's out. They have Tucker out.
Judon's
So-
playing like Chandler Jones did last year. That's for sure.
Judon's
They're
a
like,
stud this year.
Yeah.
You can't really blame all that on Zach Wilson because I'm sure his O-line was falling apart. He didn't have a run game, which definitely helps out quarterbacks. So that wasn't all on him.
Right. All right, guys. So we are going to get to our next topic of the day today, and that is going to be the Dallas Cowboys. As Frank told us all earlier, and he could brag about it. He was the only man who did pick the Cowboys in our episode last week. I really thought that Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook, TJ Hawkinson, I thought all those guys were just going to tear the Cowboys defense up. But I'll tell you what, Trayvon Diggs played a heck of a game, and he really locked up Justin Jefferson.
No more disrespect on Trayvon Diggs' name.
Yeah.
No more disrespect. He's top.
let's see. Why don't you start us off?
All right,
Matthew? What do you got to say?
Let me tell you something. No, you can't disrespect Trayvon Diggs anymore. He's one of the best corners in the league because he stopped playing for the interception this
That's
year.
right.
That's why if he kept playing for the interception, he probably would have had another record interception year.
Yeah.
Easily. But he stopped. He actually started locking up. Justin Jefferson's easily maybe the best receiver in the league. And I think he held him to 2 receptions, 18
Yeah.
yards
Yeah.
the last 2 times they played. You can't disrespect Diggs anymore. But we'll get away from Diggs for a second. The offense just completely controlled that game. The Vikings defense stood no chance.
Yeah.
Dak played an amazing game. He only had like 280 passing yards, but he still played an amazing game. Tony Pollard is easily a top 10 running back, and nobody
Yes.
can argue that anymore. He should be the first down running back now.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we should get rid of Zeke, but Tony Pollard's he's that guy now.
And also, I don't know if anyone saw, but the last 61 touches for each of these running backs, Zeke had 264 yards, while Tony Pollard had 474 yards.
Yeah. So I also think the Cowboys defense they actually played defense this week, and
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins couldn't do anything in that game. Like their secondary played amazing, but their defensive line played amazing, and Micah Parsons was throwing them off the whole game. They kept lining him up outside, and they kept lining him up at linebacker. Sometimes he would just run right up the hole. Kirk Cousins stood no chance that game, and he just got pressured the whole game.
Yeah, and I think it's really good that Dallas got the run game going with Pollard and Zeke because when they played the Packers, you know, they had those 2 interceptions in the red zone, which easily could have been prevented if they started running the ball actually. And just having that passing running scheme really will help them out because they can't just have Dak throw 50 or 60 times a game. You know, that's not going to lead them to victory, especially in the playoffs. They need to rely on that run game.
Yeah. And I think the Cowboys all around just had a really great game against Minnesota. But Anthony Barr, the linebacker for the Cowboys, was injured last week. He did not play. And there was this man, I have to shout him out. His name was Damone Clark. And he was the linebacker that came in for Anthony Barr. Damone Clark played amazing. Damone Clark, he's very fast. He's more of a pass coverage linebacker, which is exactly what the Cowboys need, especially since they run Micah Parsons to the quarterback.
Like an edge rusher, basically.
Yeah, plenty of much of the time, you know. So, kudos to Damone Clark. I actually do hope you start over Anthony Barr in the coming weeks.
The thing that surprised me was how well the Vikings played against like Josh Allen and stuff, and like
Yeah.
against that whole team. And
Honestly.
like against the Cowboys, they just crumbled. Like they didn't know what to do. So ever since like they're just bad against the run, maybe. But I know Tony Pollard played amazing. So like if he continues to play like that, the Cowboys are going to be a playoff team and maybe even Super Bowl. We'll see.
Okay, so my one thing with Dallas, they are definitely a contender. My one thing with them would be injuries. They need to stay healthy. Dak needs to stay healthy. Zeke needs to somehow stay healthy. Because Pollard is the beast. He should be the number one. But having both options will definitely be better for them. And then also their receiver core, they need to stay healthy too because they're very limited on it as it is. So
Yeah. Well, right now we have our full strength up at receiver.
Nando,
if
you
they
want to
stay
know?
healthy, they'll be good.
Nando, you want to know why the Vikings didn't know what was going on? Because Kellen Moore is one of the best offensive coordinators in the game right now.
Oh,
Kellen Moore, his play calling was perfect. He was dialed in the whole game. We put up 40 points against the Vikings, who are 8-1.
I
They
know
were
they
8-1.
just played incredible.
They played again.
Yeah.
Kellen Moore and Dan Quinn were prayers at heaven.
After losing to Green Bay, I think they felt really fueled and they're like, we're not losing this one. So they just dominated.
yeah. Did you see the quote from Micah Parsons?
No, what are these?
He said if Dak gives us a lead by 14 or more again, he's not letting it up.
Yeah, I don't blame them.
He didn't.
Yeah.
Parsons is a second-year player.
Yeah.
And he's the captain.
He's right behind Judon in
He's
sacks.
the
People are saying he's like the best athlete like on defense.
Because
Like,
he could do everything. Did you see that one play a couple weeks ago where he tracked down that Lions player?
Huh.
He was
Very
they
athletic.
showed like a
Yes.
top speed. I forget what it was, but he was rushing the quarterback. They threw a little screen pass and he got to him.
He's faster
Yeah.
than Tyreek Hill though, like he thinks he is.
Yeah, I know. That was
No.
that was fun.
Alright, so to get to our third topic of the day today, and that is what happened to the New York Giants. Man, they just lost to Detroit, and it wasn't even close. Man, I expected more of a close game, even if the Giants were to lose. But man, dude, what happened?
I don't know. The first mistake the Giants made was trading Kadarius Toney. Even though he wasn't playing great in that offense, though, now their weapons have just decreased, especially with injuries now. Like, their offense is very dependent on Daniel Jones performing and Saquon performing. And then their defense, like, they lost, it was McKinney, right, who got, like, injured?
I'm pretty sure.
So he got in the accident. Yeah, so their defense is taking hits, too, but they're just not really a complete team. Like, yes, they're still a good record-wise team, but I don't see them being a complete team anymore with everything going on right now. I really don't.
I know Saquon had a bad game. He didn't run the ball very well, but I know Jamal Williams had 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like he played really good, so that's why I
He's
think the
the
Lions.
beast.
I know. If Jamal doesn't play that well, I don't feel like the Lions win. If I'm being honest, because like once Saquon gets going or something, you never know.
Have we seen Jamal have a bad game this year? Honestly,
Not really.
Exactly.
No.
Like,
He's been
yeah.
really good.
So yeah,
Mhm.
it's like the Lions X factor, but I mean,
they still have Swift too if he doesn't perform. So yeah,
I think the Giants will figure it out though in like last coming weeks.
Yeah, I think the Giants' passing game is really weak right now, and I think their corners are really weak. And if these defenses are good enough to stop Saquon Barkley, I think that's the end for the Giants. So that's really the bottom line for me. I just really think they need to focus a lot more on getting the ball to Saquon, even through the air a little bit. You know.
I think everyone's underestimating the Lions also too, because when they traded Hawkinson, a lot of people thought they were going to pack their bags for the season. But
Yeah.
that's just not the case. You know, Jared Goff and that offense has been really good, and with Swift coming back, finally getting more carries under his belt, I think they're going to be a really team to reckon with, and they'll probably get a couple upsets. You know, I don't think Buffalo this week, but I think over the course of the season they're going to get a couple more wins.
Yeah.
Nick G?
I'm trying to look at something. I think Daniel Jones had didn't he have 300 passing yards?
He did, but he
Yeah.
had a pick or two. I think the 8.
Yeah, he had 2 picks, 300 passing yards.
also they had to throw the ball.
Yeah.
Who were their wide receivers that he had 300?
Wendell Robinson had over 100.
Kenny
yards.
Galladay
That was
got a
hurt.
catch too.
Okay.
Darius Slayton.
Yeah.
Slayton.
Slayton. They have
I was
Richie
just trying to
James.
find it, but I couldn't find it. No,
Well,
their
young
passing,
guys.
their passing game definitely. I mean, he threw 2 picks, so that's not going to win you a game. But like his if he threw 300 yards, if he didn't throw those picks, he probably would have had like 400 yards. So like,
Yeah.
I mean, but I told you guys last week, if you shut down Saquon, the game's going to be over, and that's what they did.
Yeah. And also to note, Darius Slayton, this guy came from not even being on the fields to pretty much being
Sorry.
New York's number 1 guy right now.
Yeah.
So I think he's really having a great season. But all right, so as recommended, we are going to give you guys our playoff picks for this year. So we're going to give you the seeding for everybody and who you guys think will end up as the 1 seed, who's going to finish as the 7th seed, who's going to miss out.
Is it unanimous who's AFC 1 seed? Is that something we could agree on? Do we all feel Kansas City's going to get the AFC
I
1
think
seed?
Kansas
I think
City's going to
KC.
get it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's. I feel like they have to get it. The way they've been playing, I don't know. There's just no way that anyone in the AFC could stop them. Even the NFC, I feel like no one could. They might lose a few more games, but you know what I mean. The AFC, the Chiefs are kind of a lock for 1. I think the AFC.
Yeah.
The Eagles could even be a lock if they because the people say how easy their schedule is for like the rest of the season.
The only thing that worries me about Philadelphia is they have so many more division games. They played Dallas, New York twice, and they had to play Washington 1 more time too. I believe,
No, they
right?
played
Oh no, they don't.
Yeah,
Okay.
they played them twice.
They still have 3 division games, and
Yeah.
Dallas and New York are not far behind them. That's the
Yeah.
only problem. That's
Yeah.
but
Who do you think's going to finish like 7th seed or who's
Seven-
going to miss out on the playoffs in the AFC?
in the AFC, I really think that the Chargers are going to squeeze in there at the 7th seed. I don't know. I just feel like yes, Herbert does not have much help right now, and he's still playing as good as he can. Like yeah, they couldn't make the comeback against Kansas City, but they're still promising. Like they still have a lot of talent. They're still kind of promising. So I think they could sneak in there at 7. Should I just go through what I got?
Yeah, go ahead.
And then at 6, I got the Bengals. The way Joe Burrow picked up the season, the O-line's trying to protect him. Even without Jamar Chase, they could still get in there. With a little bit, not weaker division. I feel like the Browns are a good team, but they have a really tough schedule, and they keep losing games.
Yeah.
So it's really just, I think Baltimore will end up winning that division. So Baltimore will get in. I have them at the 4 seed, but Bengals are going to be right behind them at 6. And then I have the Dolphins at 5. I don't think, as close as that division is, I don't think the Jets and Patriots are serious playoff contenders, really. Because the main thing is they don't have an offense, really. Their offense needs work. And Miami's got both sides of the ball, so they could definitely get in there. I do think Buffalo will pass them and get the 2 seed, though, for the AFC East. And then at 3, I got the Titans. I think they're just going to win their division right out easily because of the way Derrick Henry and then their defensive performance.
Nanda?
For my AFC, I think I agree. I do think the Bengals are going to be a 7 seed. I think that they're barely going to get in. I think it's going to be a close race. I can see the Browns coming back only because of Deshaun Watson returning. If he plays
They
really
have
well,
3 wins right now. That's the only problem.
I know that is
Yeah.
the problem.
It's tough. They can't lose.
If
Yeah,
he comes
they-
back, and he gets on a win streak. If he plays well again, you never know.
Is he back this week or next week?
I think he's next week.
I want to say
I can't wait to see him play.
Text him.
I'm all on the Watson train. I want to see how he does. He hasn't played in a while, but he's got talent still. I promise you that.
Yeah.
For my 6th seed, I have the Chargers. I think the Chargers are going to get in over like the Patriots and Jets. I don't have either of them making it. I know they are both like 6-4 right now, but I just can't see them like closing it out this season. Both teams are having quarterback problems or have. So, and then for my 5th seed, I have the Bills. Ooh, there. I think the Dolphins are going to stay at 1 seed. Mhm. I think that Dolphins will be the 3rd seed, but I do think the Dolphins are going to stay in the front just because like their offense is so good with the receivers they have.
Yes.
And then for my 4th seed, I have the Titans making it. I think just like the wins are so spread out, so I think the Titans are going to close that out. And then for my 2nd seed, I have the Ravens. I just think like Lamar is going to carry out the season, play well.
They're so exciting to watch too. Watching
I know.
Lamar and Mark Andrews go to work, it's so exciting.
And then the Chiefs, Mahomes is just playing at an unreal level. That offense and defense is playing well, so.
So obviously we just all agreed that the Chiefs are going to be the 1 seed. I think the Dolphins are going to take the 2 seed. That offense and defense, they're both so good. And obviously, this is what Frank wants to hear. But, you know, I just think Miami all around is just a great team. How do you stop those receivers, you know? The 3 seed, I have the Titans. The 4th seed, I have the Ravens. The 5th seed, I have the Bills. The 6th seed, I have the Bengals. And then the 7th seed, I have the Patriots, with the Jets just missing out on the playoffs.
All right. So for mine, it's a little bit different. I really hope the Dolphins do remain top of the division, but they still have to play the Bills again, and the Patriots again, and the Jets again.
We were so close to sneaking that win. Too.
It was
really
close. So close. I think they're probably gonna lose at least one of those, maybe two. We'll see how that goes. But so I have the Chiefs 1 like everyone else. I actually have the Bengals at the 2 seed because they have to play Baltimore twice this season. I think they're gonna at least split the series with them, and I think they're just gonna have the better record overall. I have the Bills the 3 seed, the Titans the 4th seed because they should win their division, pending any major injuries. I have the Ravens 5, the Dolphins 6, and then I have the Chargers at 7 because they are getting healthy with Mike Williams, Keenan Allen. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I see the Patriots sneak in there. Thank you.
Well, I don't really know how the seeding works, so I'm just going to tell you what I got. And if,
All right, just tell us the
if
top
it-
17.
if you can't
Chiefs
have
are number 1,
no,
right?
So I got
Chiefs
Chiefs
are
at 1. I got Miami at 2.
Okay.
3, I got the Titans. 4, I got Baltimore. 5, I got Buffalo. Does that work?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right.
That'll work.
6, I have the Bengals. And then at 7, I think the Chargers are going to sneak in there.
Okay.
They played good against they didn't play terrible against
No.
the Chiefs.
No,
that was a great game. I
It's a good
I
game.
loved that matchup every year.
Chiefs offense played, they kept themselves in the game, though.
I had-
Yeah.
The Chargers are a playoff team.
Yeah.
I think they'll be fine. They just gotta if their wide receivers are healthy.
Yeah.
Herbert needs more weapons than Austin Eckler, and
Yeah.
I think
And
they'll
while-
be fine.
While we're still in the AFC, who's your guys' biggest disappointment this year for the AFC?
Oh.
I'll tell you mine, the Raiders. I had
Yeah.
It's the Broncos. For
The
me.
Broncos?
I'm going to go Broncos.
That division was supposed to be insane. This
Just have so much more talent.
4 games to
3-7. They're 3-7.
sucked.
Probably one of the most talented.
I'm so happy we got to win this
One of the best
for
wide
sure.
receivers. They have one of the better running backs. Like, Derek Carr's not
And
terrible.
their defense
Yeah,
is good
They
too.
defense
like,
is good too. Matt
Who
Max.
leads the season? I'm pretty
Within the last
sure.
couple minutes,
Yeah.
It's the coaching.
Yeah, it is.
And no one really thought the Raiders or Broncos were going to struggle this much. I mean, I think most
That's
of us
right.
either thought one of them was going to make
I
the
think
playoffs.
everyone had at least 3 AFC West teams in the playoffs in their
Yeah.
prediction, at least 3.
Yeah.
And right now it's
Now it's the AFC East.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and all those AFC West teams spent so much money just to bring down the Chiefs, and
Yeah.
none of them really got close. I mean, the Chargers were leading in both of their games late, but then Mahomes at the end, he scored the touchdown and they got the win. I mean,
Yeah.
it really sucks for those teams.
Anyone have any other teams besides the Raiders and
I-
Broncos they feel
I would
disappointed?
actually add another team, the Colts, because when they traded for Matt Ryan, I thought they were going to be playoff-ish. Because if you look at they had Pittman, they had that great offensive line,
Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, like they've been struggling a lot, and the defense has been struggling. I mean, not against the Eagles, but
I
against
can agree because they did well with Wentz last year, but I feel like Wentz and Ryan play very like Wentz is more of like a like a passer like who makes plays.
Mhm.
Ryan is like more of like an improviser who's like he need I don't know. It's just that I feel like he's not a great fit for Indy.
And also,
Yeah.
And they realize that now, obviously.
Also, the thing with the Colts is they were like a half a game back from making the playoffs last year. So we thought Matt Ryan was an upgrade. You know, we thought he was going to do better than Wentz, but
Yeah.
they've been struggling.
All right, Nick, why don't you start us off for the NFC?
I'm just gonna have to tell you the people I got in there. 'cause
Go ahead.
I can't tell you the seedings.
Well,
Well, I have the Eagles number 1,
Right.
obviously. But then my other teams, I have the Cowboys in there. I have the Vikings in there. I have San Fran in there. I have Seattle. I have the Giants sneaking in there, and I have Tom Brady. I think I have
Bucks,
the Bucks. I think Tom Brady's.
do you have them winning that division?
What, the Bucks?
Yeah,
Let me-
they're
let
It's
winning
me-
the
really only
South.
them
Then.
or Atlanta.
Let me look
really.
It's going to be them or Atlanta.
Yeah,
So they won
Oh
the South.
yeah, I think they're winning that one. I think Tom Brady's gonna start picking up.
Who's winning the West in your opinion? The Niners or Seattle?
Seattle.
Yeah, I have to
I like
agree with that.
Seattle.
I think Seattle holds on to it.
I like Seattle right now.
Go ahead, Frank.
them.
I'm going to go Eagles 1, Vikings at 2, the 49ers at 3, because I think they still play Seattle either one or twice this season. I think they're going to beat them. Fourth, I have Tampa because they're division. I don't think Atlanta's going to really pose much of a threat to them because Kyle Pitts got injured and they've been struggling on offense as well.
Yeah.
5, I got Dallas. 6, I have Seattle, and then 7, I have the Giants.
My 1 seed is Philly. My 2 seed is the Vikings. My 3 seed is Seattle. I think they will hold on against the Niners. My 4th seed is Tampa because of the division. My 5th seed is the Cowboys. My 6th seed would be the 49ers. And then I'll take the Giants at the 7th seed with the Commanders giving them a run at the end of the season, though.
So my first seed is the Eagles. My second will be the Vikings. I do think the Niners are going to win the division. I have them at 3. 4, I have the Bucks. And then at 5, I have the Cowboys. 6, I have the Giants. And then 7, I have the Seahawks.
Interesting. All right, so obviously, I'm thinking the Eagles are going to take one. I hope. I'm an Eagles fan, so let's hope that all the Batmans can step up and get AJ Brown and keep going. They're a team. They're an amazing team when they play their potential. Their defense has been carrying them the last couple weeks, but Hurts has been doing good. He'll get going. So the Eagles hopefully will take the 1. And to be honest, though, I think I got the Niners taking the 2 seed. They are a scary team after watching them play Monday night.
They did play well.
Minnesota's going to take a couple of tough losses, I feel like, coming up. And I feel like Seattle is a good team, but 49ers are just a great team. And especially with Jimmy G leading them now, I feel like that after the first couple weeks of him playing, a couple of hiccups, they'll be good now. So they'll be the 2. I do have Minnesota getting in at 3, winning that division pretty easily. I mean, I think that Green Bay is going to make a run for their money, and they're going to sneak in the playoffs at the 7th seed. Because I just can't see the playoffs without Rodgers. I really like, especially from that comeback from Dallas. Like, he looks like he's ready to start playing now. He looks like he's more into it and looks different to watch.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say about that is the Packers have to win out.
Yeah. They would practically have to win out.
They're facing the Eagles this week, so they have to.
I see the game going both ways, though. I really can. Green Bay's defense could do what Indy's defense did to Eagles' offense and force a couple turnovers. It's going to be a really good game, that's for sure.
But also, like how some of you guys mentioned Seattle, like the 2 or 3 seed. I just think Seattle is going to continue to regress because, I mean, we all know they've had a great year so far, but
Yeah, no offense to them, but could they really get much better than they've been playing?
Yeah,
They've been playing their full potential.
they've been playing outstanding. And I think Gino, the defense is going to start to figure out the scheme, figure out Gino a little bit more, and I think they're going to lose a couple more games.
I do have
So let me ask you guys another question then, really quick. Who's comeback player of the year? Is it Geno Smith or is it Saquon Barkley?
Gino.
I got to be Geno Smith.
I think it's got to be Geno.
If Seattle makes the playoffs, I'm 100% going Geno. There's no way they make the playoffs without him.
Yeah.
There's no way.
I think if the Giants have better seeding at the end, they're going to get Saquon.
But
Possibly.
Saquon won't get them there alone. That's the problem. That's my opinion.
I was gonna. Oh, do you want to say something first?
I just gotta ask a question for all of us to debate for a minute or two.
Okay.
Is Hurts an MVP?
He's a contender right now. He's
A candidate?
Hang on.
Yes.
Just but like let me bicker with you a little bit.
right now.
Tell me how, because in my
Last week.
In my-
there is one last week.
okay, but it was he didn't show up until the last drive. That's
No.
my problem.
At the end of the day.
That's my problem though. An MVP shows up the whole game. He doesn't just show up on the last drive of the game. That's my problem. I don't think
Here's the
he's an
deal.
MVP.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
Jalen Hurts is showing that he can do everything. That's what I'm trying to say.
him.
He's a Cowboys fan. Jalen Hurts is a really good quarterback. He is an MVP candidate because he has done everything this year. He has shut out teams. He knows how to come back in the fourth quarter. He can play a full game. Like, he can be out there and he can just do his thing. That's what I'm trying to say. You know, it's like Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, these guys, he can.
You want to know what offense looked really difficult until the end? Dallas Goedert. He didn't have his safety net. Without his safety net, they were trying to set up the deep ball. That fumble wasn't really on him because they had a block. It was a designed deep ball. So, like, besides that, though, he didn't have many mistakes, to be
I
honest
also
with you.
don't think he's an MVP because when he plays a good defense, his longest pass is like 15 yards. That's what happens.
Wait.
That's what happens. He's an RPO guy. That's all they do.
I have a question
For you guys, then, do you guys think he's better than Allen, Tua, or Mahomes?
Yeah.
this
What
season?
are your rankings, Fred?
Allen, not Mahomes. Tua and him are pretty close to me.
So, like, who's your one?
Tua and
Josh
I have
Allen's
Mahomes number 1.
Josh
right now.
Allen's like
I
not
think
too
it's
high up on the
Mahomes.
podium.
I have
Tua.
Mahomes 1, and 2 and Hurts are debatable 2 and 3, I think. That's my opinion.
Three this year are probably Mahomes, then Tua, then Hurts.
I would go. It's kind of tough because
You're biased. You could be biased.
no one. I'm not gonna be biased for
Let
two.
us know. Let us know.
No one really thought the Eagles were gonna be, this big juggernaut 9-1. They thought Hurts was still gonna struggle with it.
No matter how easy their schedule is, they're still 9-1. That
So-
doesn't change the fact.
So I'm gonna say, everyone knows how great Mahomes is really, and they weren't gonna be surprised without Tyreek.
If there was a most improved award, I feel like Hurts would.
They-
Tua could give up there too, though. That's
like,
the problem.
Like they still
Mahomes proved that he could do it without Tyreek Hill, which no one thought he was going to be
Yeah.
able to. So
I would
he deserves to be the number one.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So I would go Hurts actually number one because no one really thought they were gonna do it. But then
I think Philly is a little good a little bit because of that schedule,
But
though.
like, if you look at it, Mahomes already won a Super Bowl. Like everyone, people thought they were gonna struggle,
I
but
guess we'll see how Green Bay goes.
Yeah.
Even though their record doesn't show it, they're a legit team, though. They really
Yeah.
are. They really are.
So I
Green
go,
Bay?
But the Eagles do get a loss without Jalen Hurts in that game against
Yeah.
the They really do. Hurts carried them on fourth down and ran in the touchdown, saving the game.
yeah. So I would go Hurts, Mahomes, and then either Tua or Tyreek. We kind of
Yeah.
debate whether that, but
Yeah.
I think the Dolphins, when Tua starts and finishes, they are 7-0. So that's a big factor.
Yeah, and guys, we have breaking news for you right now. The Jets have just benched Zach Wilson.
Are you serious?
Really? You saw
Yes.
this?
It just happened.
Who's starting?
Where'd you see this?
It's on.
Right there.
I don't know. I don't know if they announced the starter. Maybe it's
Show the
Flacco,
screen.
maybe it's Mike White.
Let me.
Wow.
I do have the Buccaneers, the Hawks making
Right there.
making the playoffs too, though.
That's
The
kinda
Jets
crazy.
have benched Zach Wilson
GG.
during our episode. How about that, guys?
That's perfect. Right
Man,
there.
honestly,
It's Mike White season.
Is he starting Mike
Joe
White?
Flacco. We'll see.
Mike
See?
White.
Joe Flacco, the way he started off the season, they might try to ride Joe Flacco this year. That's my
You
opinion.
know how we did the most disappointing AFC team this season? Who you guys think NFC is? I think it's the
Me-
Rams. I was thinking
Rams.
yeah, to be
Rams.
NFC.
I think the Cardinals too.
Played terrible.
the Cardinals are
Kyler Murray is
I
playing.
don't even want to get into
Yeah.
Kyler Murray. I'll talk about him for an hour. I
See,
hate him.
To me, I feel the Rams, but then I also thought there's no way they're going for another run because they built that team just to run last year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
true.
Here's two odds.
Yeah, I'm in Green Bay
we
because
built that as a one-year team. The
I'm
Rams.
yeah.
Monte, but Rodgers, even though he struggled, he still made the playoffs
Yeah.
consistently. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, and on the Rams point, they're missing Whitworth. He retired. They're missing Von
Yeah.
Miller.
there's see teams that are struggling. I was excited to see New Orleans too. I really was.
Yeah.
I was excited to see them play
They
healthy.
got to get a quarterback.
With Mike Thomas coming back, obviously
They got to
injuries
get a
happen.
quarterback, and then they'll be all right.
Yeah.
So we are going to end our video here for today. I appreciate everyone who watches. Happy Thanksgiving once again. Everyone enjoy. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Nanda, Frank, and Nick. See you guys.